The storm hit Boston at midnight, a howling beast of wind and rain that shook the windows of Ethan Caldwell's penthouse office. Ethan stood alone, staring out at the city's skyline, his silhouette sharp against the glass. At 42, he was a man forged in discipline, his name synonymous with ambition. 8 years ago, he'd started Caldwell Innovations with nothing but a laptop and a relentless drive. Now, his tech empire employed over 60 people, transforming ideas into reality with surgical precision. But tonight, his world was unraveling, and the storm outside was nothing compared to the one brewing within him. Ethan's rise wasn't just a story of success, it was a testament to the power of vision. He'd grown up in a working-class neighborhood, the son of a single mother who cleaned houses to keep food on the table. While other kids played, Ethan studied, learning to code by 16, building apps by 18, and dreaming of a life where he'd never be at the mercy of circumstance. His mantra was simple: control your destiny, or someone else will. By 34, he'd launched Caldwell Innovations, a company that turned cutting-edge software into tools for small businesses, empowering them to compete with giants. His employees revered his high standards, but his competitors feared his ruthless precision. Cross Ethan Caldwell, and you'd find yourself outmaneuvered, outsmarted, and out of the game. Yet for all his professional triumphs, Ethan's personal life was a battlefield. He was a devoted father to his 9-year-old daughter, Lily, whose laughter could light up his darkest days. His wife, Claire, was his anchorer had been. Claire, a brilliant graphic designer, had her own dreams, and over the past year, her career had taken center stage. She'd built a thriving design firm, pouring her heart into every project, but the cost was their marriage. Late nights turned into missed dinners, then missed weekends, and finally, a chasm Ethan couldn't bridge. He loved her still, but love, he was learning, wasn't always enough. Claire's parents, Richard and Eleanor Hawthorne, came from old money, their wealth rooted in Boston's real estate empire. They'd never warmed to Ethan, viewing his self-made success as a cheap imitation of their legacy. To them, he was an upstart, a man who'd clawed his way up but would never belong. Ethan tolerated their snobbery for Lily's sake, but every interaction was a test of his patience. When Claire insisted on spending Christmas at her parents' sprawling estate in Vale, Ethan agreed, not because he wanted to, but because Lily deserved a holiday filled with joy. He packed their bags, swallowing his pride, and told himself it was just 1 week. Vale was a glittering prison. The Hawthorns' estate, with its soaring ceilings and walls of glass, was a monument to excess. Richard spent the week dissecting Ethan's business, questioning his strategies with a smirk, while Eleanor nudged Lily toward refined activities, ballet lessons, etiquette classes that felt like a rejection of the girl's free spirit. Ethan watched Lily shrink under their expectations, and his heart ached. He wanted to scoop her up and leave, but he stayed, his jaw tight, his patience thinner than the mountain air. On Christmas Eve, as the family gathered for a lavish dinner, Lily slipped something into Ethan's hand, a small USB drive, its surface scratched and cold. She'd found it in Claire's luggage, tucked inside a hidden pocket. "Mommy was acting weird about it," Lily whispered, her eyes wide with trust. Ethan's stomach twisted, but he smiled, ruffling her hair, and promised to check it later. After tucking Lily into bed, he plugged the drive into his laptop, his pulse quickening. What he found shattered the world he'd built. The drive held a digital trail of betrayal, emails, photos, and voice messages between Claire and her business partner, Nathan Blake, a charismatic architect with a reputation for charm. For 16 months, they'd been having an affair, their messages a mix of passion and conspiracy. Nathan wasn't just Claire's lover, he was her ally in a plan to dismantle Ethan's empire. They'd used insider knowledge from Claire's access to Ethan's files to pitch his clients, offering lower rates and poaching his top engineers. One email laid out their endgame. Claire would divorce Ethan, seek full custody of Lily, and paint him as an unstable workaholic to win the court's favor. A voice message from Claire, her tone cold and calculated, sealed it. "He'll never see it coming. We'll take everything." Ethan's rage was a quiet, searing thing, like a blade heated to white-hot precision. But he didn't break. He couldn't, not with Lily depending on him. He copied the drive's contents, secured it in his safe, and booked 2 plane tickets back to Boston that night. As the jet cut through the stormy sky, Lily asleep against his shoulder, Ethan's mind raced. This wasn't just a personal betrayal. It was a calculated attack on everything he'd built. Claire and Nathan thought they could outplay him, but they'd underestimated one thing. Ethan Caldwell never lost. Back in Boston, Ethan moved with the precision of a chess master. He changed the locks on their brownstone, deactivated Claire's access to his company systems, and moved Lily to his mother's modest home in Quincy, where she'd be safe from the fallout. He hired a private investigator to dig deeper into Nathan's projects and retained a top divorce attorney, Sarah Bennett, whose reputation for winning impossible cases matched Ethan's own tenacity. When Claire returned, demanding answers, Ethan met her in a neutral boardroom, his face a mask of calm. He laid out the evidence, screenshots, emails, the voice message. Claire's face paled, but she didn't deny it. Instead, she doubled down, threatening to bury him in court with her family's wealth and Nathan's connections. "You're nothing without me," she spat. Lily deserves better than a man obsessed with his own ego. Ethan didn't flinch. "You're right about one thing," he said, his voice low. "Lily deserves better, and I'm going to make sure she gets it." What Claire didn't know was that Ethan had spent years building an insurance policy, a network of favors, secrets, and leverage among Boston's elite. He'd helped politicians secure funding, connected developers with investors, and quietly documented their indiscretions. Among his files was a dossier on Richard Hawthorne's real estate firm, detailing questionable tax maneuvers and offshore accounts. Ethan didn't want to use it, but Claire had left him no choice. He started with Nathan, one of Nathan's flagship projects, a sleek high-rise on Boston's waterfront, was already under scrutiny for structural flaws. Ethan tipped off key investors, anonymously sharing evidence of Nathan's history of cutting corners on safety to boost profits. Within days, the project was stalled, and Nathan's reputation began to crack. Next, Ethan targeted Claire's design firm. He reached out to her biggest clients, not with accusations, but with subtle questions about her reliability. One by one, they canceled contracts, citing concerns. Richard's firm faced its own storm when an anonymous whistleblower, Ethan's investigator, leaked documents suggesting accounting irregularities. Investors pulled back, and Richard's empire wobbled. Claire and Nathan fought back, spinning a narrative of Ethan as a corrupt CEO who'd bribed officials and exploited employees. The accusations hit the media, and for a moment, Ethan's company teetered under the scrutiny. But Ethan had anticipated this. He'd spent years building trust, not just with clients, but with his team. His employees rallied, sharing stories of his fairness and vision. Clients vouched for his integrity, and when the investigation cleared him, the tide turned. The climax came at the Hawthorne Foundation's annual gala, a glittering event attended by Boston's power players. Ethan, uninvited but undeterred, walked in with Lily's hand in his. As Richard took the stage to boast about his legacy, Ethan stepped forward, a USB drive in his hand, not the one Lily found, but a new one, filled with undeniable proof. He projected a timeline of Claire and Nathan's conspiracy, complete with emails, financial records, and a bombshell, a DNA test proving Nathan was Lily's biological father, a secret Claire had kept for 9 years. The room froze. Claire's face crumpled, Nathan's charm dissolved, and Richard's bluster faded as police officers, tipped off by Ethan's attorney, moved in. The conspiracy unraveled in real time, and the Hawthorne-Blake empire collapsed under the weight of its own deceit. Ethan walked out, Lily at his side, as the crowd whispered in awe. But this story isn't just about Ethan's victory. It's about what it means to rise above betrayal, to fight for what matters, and to rebuild stronger than before. Ethan didn't just protect his daughter and his business. He showed us that adversity is a forge, shaping us into something unbreakable. He took the pain of betrayal and turned it into purpose, proving that success isn't about money or status. It's about standing tall when the world tries to knock you down. And here's the call to action. If Ethan's story inspires you to chase your own dreams, to break free from doubt or fear, then join this community. Subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell, and let's fuel each other's fire to live boldly. What's the one obstacle you're facing right now that you know you can overcome? Drop it in the comments. I'm reading every single one, and I want to hear your story. Ethan's fight wasn't over. The legal battle for Lily's custody stretched on, but Sarah Bennett was a master strategist, and the evidence was ironclad. Claire's lies crumbled in court, and Ethan won full custody, with Claire granted supervised visits. He sold the brownstone, moving with Lily to a new homey, cozy, modern house with a backyard where she could play, free from the weight of her mother's choices. Caldwell Innovations thrived, launching a new platform that empowered entrepreneurs worldwide, a reflection of Ethan's belief that everyone deserves a shot at their dreams. Years later, Lily, now a bright teenager, asked Ethan why he fought so hard. He looked at her, his eyes steady, and said, "Because you're my reason, and no one gets to take that away." That's the heart of this story. A man who turned pain into power, who refused to let betrayal define him, and who showed us that the greatest victories come from fighting for what you love. So, what's your reason? What's the fight you're ready to take on? Share it below, and let's inspire each other to keep pushing forward.